Uh, Starting back in 2019, my parents started going through divorce officially. My father was abusive since the time I was born, physically and verbally, emotionally, every way to my mother and I. Um, and he was constantly leaving. He was never a stable figure in my life. He would be home for 2 days, gone for 5 days, or gone for a week, 2 months. It didn't. It kind of just ranged. But when he was home, he would cause problems, and he would instigate instigate arguments, and then try and use it as an excuse to hit me, hit my mom, or do other things to us. Uh, there was guy named Dr. Sheinvold who started to get involved in our case. And I didn't
Hmm.
really know much about him. I didn't know anything about him at all, actually. And he actually only ever met with me once in person, which I thought was ironic, but uh, I had gotten connected into the court system, I guess you could say, through my guardian ad litem. Before, it was just with my parents, but my guardian ad litem, Rebecca Wright, was just an awful representative. I had gotten explained that the guardian ad litem was to represent the child's best interests, and
Hmm.
she did exactly the opposite. She represented my abusive father's best interests instead of mine, and so she advocated for him. She was definitely uh, uh corrupted by him, I guess you could say. And um and so apparently the Dr. Scheinvold went and talked to her, and I had no idea who this guy was, and then she told me about this, and I'm like, what? Who is this guy? And then I hear he's going to make a report to the court about how I should be reintroduced and put forced back into a relationship with my father, a relationship which I never had. And I still haven't talked to the guy, apparent. And when I finally met with him, I met with him in the hotel in Jackson, for about an hour. And I was either 11 or 12. Um, and the man was nothing like I'd ever seen. He refused to listen to any of my stories about the abuse that I had suffered, about the abuse my mom had suffered. He told me straight up that he didn't believe me at all, and he eventually ended up filing the report to the court. And in there, he said recommended something around like 14 different reunification camps to send me to, that I didn't want to go to. I told him straight up, I did not want to have a relationship with my father, and I do not still. He
Hmm.
had hurt me, he had hurt my mom, and he refused to listen to me. He tried to send me off to these reunification camps. And so I'm sorry. He tried to get me to have my guardian ad litem with me in the therapist's office, and he refused to advocate for me. He refused to listen to me.